Hello and welcome! Today we start the ZipKrowd podcast, official first episode, episode 0. And who's here today? Let's go through the list.
I'm Code Raider.
Hey, and here's JL, of course. Hi.
Cube Hamster here.
I'm Old Gannon.
And I'm Spire.
And I'm Wooby. So we are here today to talk about 1.8, the latest update of
Maybe
Minecraft.
we should talk a little about the idea of this podcast. You know.
Yeah.
So
all right.
No, this is good. We can keep going. So we want to make a podcast basically here just with our ZipKrowd with our ZipKrowd people. And have different things, so so we can share our opinions about Minecraft, maybe even other stuff. So for you guys to listen, and yeah. So first thing we want to talk about is 1.8.
And by the way, if you have suggestions on what our future podcast could be about, just post them in the comments too, and we'll choose the most interesting or most appealing topic, of course. But yeah, let's get started. So as you might have noticed, with the background here, I'm actually already on 1.8 because we upgraded our server now since we decided it would be time for it. And who just timed out?
We lost Code Raider. He'll come back.
I hope that he'll come
back.
And the first thing I wanted to address is because you may be already serious from the video footage, the performance in 1.8. So many people have said that the performance got so much better due to the new culling algorithm. Well, aside from problems with AMD graphics cards, so apparently only NVIDIA graphics cards actually gained performance improvements.
Yay!
Wait, what do you have? Do you have an NVIDIA? Or?
I've got an NVIDIA.
Yeah, I think all of us have one.
No, I have AT.
I actually had AMD before.
Okay. I think that's this is way overrated to a simple reason, and that is, well, it kinda, from my experience, increases the performance, or it basically doesn't increase the minimum FPS I'm getting in a certain world, but only the maximum. So it doesn't really help me, because at spots where there is lag due to a lot of rendering blocks and stuff, this doesn't help at all. It just increases the frame rate if I look at the wall in a cave where I already got way too many frames on a halfway decent PC. So in other words, I don't gain anything from it, and actually performance, for example, here in the storage room is a lot worse for me, and I think it has to do that it has to constantly redraw all the sections. Also, there's another big downside for me, and that is that it breaks smooth teleporting, which I wanted to make an awesome map with it, because you shouldn't notice that you were teleported, but it completely breaks it since the section you're teleported into is not rendered, and if you teleport to there, it blinks for a second, because for a short moment you see that there's void, and then the blocks render again, so it breaks the smooth teleporting, and that is, I don't like it that much. I don't know what you think about it.
Is it really noticeable? So it takes like a tick or a frame to render everything in, or what?
I guess it takes like a tick, so more than a frame. It's really a 20th of a second use. It's just as if it was flashing. You completely notice that the terrain that you were just teleported.
And the point of the map is that you don't notice. So,
yes.
Yeah. So they also introduce the smooth teleporting? Was that 1.7 or 1.8?
Somewhere in the snapshots they introduced that
it's a bit older.
Teleportation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. When did they smooth it out? Because they might have just broken it again.
They did. That's what
in the same update.
It was just working
it's
for a few
older than this
snapshots.
update.
Okay, well, we had it in 1.7 for a short while. That's really stupid. So.
Yeah, but I mean, even if the smooth teleporting did work, I mean, if if the stuff isn't loaded and you get teleported there, then it has to load it, right? So
Yeah, in any case, the smooth teleportation only worked with sections that were in the same area of the loaded chunk. So
yeah,
you could only, but it would still work that you would teleport it relatively 20 meters to another room, which is still in the loaded chunks. But that doesn't work anymore at all. You have to be seeing the section you are getting teleported to in order to have it smoothly, which, well, it doesn't probably work, of course.
I guess they could figure out how to get around that issue and implement a fix. It seems Dinnerbone was really into that fix because it allowed for some cool maps that he saw and improved them. So if we put some pressure on that issue, load it up on the bug tracker, then sure, and I don't see them not fixing it.
Yeah, the
I
question
guess
is
you
how
would
do
have
you...
to like pre-render everything before you teleport, right?
There was
Yeah.
a suggestion, and that is a really cool suggestion in my opinion. Just make it possible with a command block to preload a chunk easily, and then also to have it actually pre-render and preload it.
that would be amazing.
That would completely
It would be a lot of power. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, you could actually lag out other clients by just forcing them to load new chunks.
Well, obviously you can still lag out the client
I
easily.
guess it would
but
be.
it would be a cool
Yeah, but
option
that
for
would be
me.
more intrusive there.
I don't see any other
I
option
mean, if
though,
you can
because
influence the rendering of another client, that would be maybe a bit too powerful, too destructive in the end, maybe.
the question is how are you going to otherwise make clear to the client that he's gonna be teleported in 1 second to this particular position? You somehow have to let him know. I mean, you can still put a client maximum number of sections render limit or something, which is overwriting it, so it can for command blocks you can force it to load a particular set of chunks, but you can't place 100,000 command blocks to load the entire world and crash the client, but just increase it a slight bit. But there's a client limit. I don't know. There was definitely a way to do it.
You can't turn off the section rendering algorithm, right? It's always on. There's no option for it, right?
At the moment there isn't, but as far as I know, they've changed it so that in spectator mode you actually do
All right.
see all the sections, because, well, it kind of made the spectator mode is very confusing when you were flying through objects and suddenly you didn't see anything anymore because you were inside an object and it wouldn't render stuff.
I think that was something they added in the full release, right? That wasn't in the pre-releases. But at least that's when I noticed it.
So basically spectator mode uses the old version. So maybe it would actually be a workaround if you set the player to spectator mode for the duration of the teleportation. So a workaround for these maps, just set him to spectator mode for a split second.
You would notice. You would see that you went into
probably.
spectator mode there.
Yeah,
You probably noticed it.
Yeah.
We kind of get away from our topic. We're not talking about the map making yet. 1.8. So
Yeah,
smooth teleporting is broken. What else? What else did you notice?
it feels really clunky from time to time. I've had crashes in 1.8, but it's really weird because to me the pre-alphas feel a lot more stable than the actual 1.8. I don't know.
I haven't had any crashes yet, beside one thing, and that was that on closing the game or stopping a server, it often froze when saving the players. So that was actually pretty annoying. I mean, on your Windows computer, you can just go to the task manager and kill it. On the Linux server, it's a little bit more annoying, but it often froze or often freezes when closing the game. Not while it's running, though. That's the only freeze I've experienced so far, but I can't obviously know all the possible freezes yet.
Yeah. Performance, they like you earlier said, JL, they increased like the max FPS you can get, but they didn't get rid of like most of the micro stutters and stuff. It's still they don't really. It
actually went better for me.
The thing is,
I don't see much of a difference really. Like when we
I guess
updated
it heavily
the server,
depends on your PC.
The performance hogs are different. For a very weak PC, the rendering itself of the normal terrain is already a huge task, and that task got a lot easier. But the actual issue is, so that means for a weak PC there is definitely an performance improvement. But the thing is, for a good PC where the lag comes from section updates where the whole section is getting re-rendered and resent to the or recalculated and resent to the graphics card memory. That lag didn't get better at all. So that actually and that is one of the main sources of lag, for example, in the storage room. Whenever there's any kind of block update, it recalculates all vertices in that same section. So, for example, with hoppers and chests and stuff, they have a lot more vertices, although it's still a tiny amount compared to like modern ego shooters or something where you have, I don't know how many vertices in each character. It's still, since it's resending it all the time, there's a noticeable lag spike, and that causes these stutters. And yeah, I don't.
We're actually not quite sure about the actual mechanics that cause these lags.
Yeah, what's one of the reasons? If, for example, I notice it when I outsource a redstone clock into a different section, suddenly no lag anymore client side, because it's another section that's being recalculated, and that section doesn't contain a lot of other fancy blocks, so it works. If you have a redstone clock right in, you can actually really see how all of a sudden, if the redstone clock, if you constantly lower it into the section of the storage room where there are other chests, that at one point it suddenly causes a lot more lag as soon as the updates hit this section here. And so it definitely has a lot of things to do with it. Obviously that's not all, but that's one of the reasons why the redstone clocks appear, or in general the storage room appears to cause a lot of lag. And there's something else they added there, like when I'm just running around, I feel that the frame rate is worse than just standing still. That hasn't got anything to do with the redstone updates, because I'm not causing more redstone updates or block updates when I'm running around. I don't know what exactly that is, but it has something to do with the list, with the order of transparencies. I think the transparency list order, that's also something that creates a lot of lag, because MockMiner fixed it at some point that certain objects get rendered in the wrong order, but that again caused a performance hit. For example, you notice this when you're walking around in the bottom of this of our peaceful our 7 wither tree farm mob trap at the bottom there, where we've got lots of glass. You can actually walk around and there's no big lag spike as soon as you stay on the same spot. As soon as you walk over a border of a block, there's a sudden lag spike, because it's resorting the list according to your new position. In what order, which transparency is in what layer, and that sorting causes a lot of lag too. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but
that's been there since 1.7, right? So, but interestingly enough, they fixed the string lag, which is incredible. So what in 1.7, what used to happen if you have a lot of string in one place, I don't know if it had to be connected or not, but moving around in that or around that string caused incredible stuttering and frame drops. But it seemed only to lag when you were moving around, and they completely fixed that, which is also why we waited with the peaceful mob trap, which we're now will finish in 1.8, right?
Yeah. And this is, so there's a lot of things that got better and a lot of things that got worse. One thing that they improved a lot is that finally chunks that are loaded by redstone can unload themselves, so we don't have a memory leak, and we can eventually hope for our storage room to unload. And we actually tested it. If you leave the storage room area, I don't know, after 45 seconds or so at maximum, we actually didn't notice that the storage room got unloaded. So we tested this on a backup of the server where we put just a command block clock to inform us whether the storage room was still loaded, and after a while it got unloaded, which didn't happen in 1.7 because the hoppers would keep the chunks loaded in the moment you leave the portal, and there was no other mechanic to unload them eventually, but this mechanic does work pretty well, and that's awesome. Yeah. And so it's kind of a mix of things you're getting frustrated about. For example, the mob AI, there somewhere, I tested it, somewhere in between 29B and 30C, the mobs all of a sudden, especially certain hoster mobs, cause a lot more lag, and we are assuming it has to do with that creeper skeletons and zombies now try to avoid not creepers, but skeletons, zombies and other mobs try to avoid creeper explosions, and they're probably constantly checking all other mobs whether they are exploding a creeper or something. So in any case, that creates a lot of lag.
Yeah, it used to be only creepers that were doing that, and in their doing of like making all the mob AI the same for some reason, they've just put that on all the other mobs, which I don't really agree with. I don't really see the reason for doing that. Like, why make all the mobs the same, basically? Like, slimes now track, or, they turn around and act differently. They attack iron golems. Yeah.
Slimes used to be the just dumb mob, which was rare, and I actually liked it that way because they were so predictable at the same time, so funny and so cute at some points, even the tiny slimes. Yeah, but
I prefer these smarter slimes. I like it that they have some. They are simple creatures, but they actually have some intelligence now.
They have some.
I prefer that to the dumb mobs.
Gooey brain. Well, just to give you some examples. So previously, I think, at about 750 or so skeletons at one spot, the TPS on our root server started to go down. Now it's at 250. So 250 mobs in one spot will lag out your complete server. And that is really not a lot. It depends on the mob type, of course. So with slimes, this is a lot better because they don't have this trying to avoid creeper AI or whatever is actually causing the lag. We are not 100% sure, but it's pretty certain. And, well, this is really... In general, the entities causing a lot of lag when they are at one spot is really an issue because they are not threaded, and 250 mobs is not a lot. It's like the mob cap of 3 people standing at 3 different spots. So in theory, Minecraft server software is actually not written to handle more than 3 people at once. 4 people.
By the way, we should at this point maybe clarify. There is threading involved now, but that's just the AI itself. They control what their mobs should do, but not the stuff like checking hitbox and everything. That's still single thread, so don't get wrong ideas here.
Yeah,
it's for the
that's also really hard to multi-thread that, right?
Yeah. But I don't know how hard it will be for them. But of course, if you have several threads at the same time, you have to organize how does it influence if I change this mob while the other one is still checking.
Right.
So you have to maybe change some behavior a bit around because it doesn't get easily transferred into multi-threading.
I eventually imagine if each chunk was actually a separate thread, so that the TPS could go down within a particular chunk. That would probably cause a lot of weird issues at chunk borders.
But you can.
You'd also need a lot of threads for your average Minecraft server.
But I was going to say you could probably, like, if you had like a 100 core machine, then you would actually have a lot of performance. Right now, it's not sensible to have more than 2 cores for Minecraft. Well,
it still has problems. I mean, even if you would have the resources to have one chunk, one thread, you still have issues at chunk borders. How do they interact?
Yeah, so maybe that's overdoing it, but at least regions...
But there's certainly ways to make it multi-threaded. I mean, there are mods that work with that, and people that try to implement correct multi-threading for server software, there were good attempts. Some work, some don't work that much.
Yeah. Well, in
this
general...
seems not like a priority for Mojang right now.
Yeah, it also seems for me that they often abandon projects if they... or not abandoned projects, but I think they tried it with the threading, at least with the threading of the 3 different dimensions, which in theory sounds like it should be super easy. Imagine, okay, End, Nether, and Overworld, they're only linked via portals. That should be possible to thread that. And that would also cause a major performance increase, but they apparently weren't able to and never implement it. I don't know what the issues are, but so it's unlikely.
Are we sure it's not back in the end now?
Didn't they add the that dimensions are handled by different threads now?
No, they tried. They wanted it. They announced it, but it's never made it into the game. It didn't.
Are you sure?
I am.
The thing is,
they did a lot of.
80% certain. I can try it again, but I'm.
Are we sure that
certain.
they didn't re-implement it now? Fixed it.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
On another very positive note about 1.8, I think the big, gigantic slime machines look a lot better right now than they used to do in 1.7, or at least in the snapshots.
I was going to say in 1.7.
Wait. Yeah, in the snapshots. No, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Like the updates you see, like you can actually. If I take Mega Gargantua for an example, you can actually see the whole thing walking without any, or without a lot of ghost blocks appearing and stuff.
Yeah,
interesting. Really cool. So even if you move away.
Eventually they will appear, but they decrease the chance of a ghost block appearing by a lot. I noticed the difference.
So maybe with the new section rendering algorithm, they can more selectively update the chunks to the client that he actually sees, right?
Yeah, probably.
Would that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess it's more a case of the multi-threaded rendering. That before you had to wait until that specific section was in time to get an update on your machine. And now with the multi-threading, they can already say, this section needs to be updated, do that now, and don't wait for the other sections to update first. So I could imagine that be
we can say that client side, I would say it's a very mixed review. If the performance got better or worse in total, I think it actually got a bit better considering all the facts we had now, but some things are really horrible. For example, I just one example is I placed a small cube of fence gates with the fill command and tried to burn it down, and that caused massive lag. I don't know what, but and same goes, for example, for signs. Since the new JSON string handling with signs, which is obviously awesome, signs are now on the blacklist of blocks you may never use for any mob trap or anything, because if you have more than 100 or maybe 200 signs in your world, then lag is gonna kill you.
They're not even easy to place right now, because you have to shift click for every sign if you click on another sign. So that's one thing that's really annoying now.
Yeah, it's they often introduce things without thinking about the performance. Like when they wanted to introduce the culling algorithm, yay, new performance and big announcement and stuff. But then they all of a sudden, okay, added JSON strings, it's awesome, and or added the mob AI which tries to flee from creepers, but that this would cause massive performance hits. Oversaw that, and then they don't. That's
pretty much the same with the zombie AI that they introduced in 1.7. I mean, it's still not fixed.
Yeah,
and it still causes a lot of lag. I mean,
and it would be so easy to fix by just making them not track in such an incredible range, but make them dump over distance and only have a cracking go on a low radius or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't check every tick.
Yeah.
You let them walk into a wall from time to time, but
I mean, as zombies in the end, and not automatic robots which can within 1 second find a path through a 1 kilometer long labyrinth, which is what's happening at the moment. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Also, one thing that I think is really annoying about 1.8 is that they took out the anisotropic filtering. It's like the biggest the biggest minus point I have for 1.8, because it doesn't really look good right now, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
The anisotropic filtering.
There was no reason to put it out. It was working fine, and on any not 10-year-old graphics card, it wouldn't cause a performance hit, because that's something graphics cards are made for.
I mean, there has to be some reason for it, and I hope they figured it out and re-implement it, because right now you have the option to either play with the old grainy look that we had in 1.6, or you have the mushy, the mushy look with the mip mapping enabled. So
yeah, where everything is blurred out. Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. And definitely in total, one thing you can say, the server performance decreased a lot with 1.8. The client performance, there are a lot of improvements, but the server performance...
Actually, I'm not so sure about it.
Yeah.
Especially with the new unloading mechanics.
Oh, right, the unloading, okay, that's one thing.
That helps a lot.
So, okay, mixed in total.
If you think about survival server, the biggest lag issue in 1.7 was the storage room, right?
Yeah.
And now with the new unloading, if no one is in the storage room, there's pretty much no lag. I mean, we tested it yesterday, and it was working just fine. If you threw an ender pearl, it was going very smoothly.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, also with the unloading, it makes it possible to have our mushroom farm, which I talked about earlier, as a peaceful mob trap. You know, we can have that running without worrying about some chunks being loaded which have peaceful mobs in them. So that's one really nice thing they've implemented there.
So we can say that they had some not so smart decisions with the AI and some changes they made that decreased performance, but they already gave us many tools to improve performance again, like the new culling and the better unloading and stuff. So they at least try to counter their actions somewhat. Maybe not
Yeah.
the smartest ways, but they actually do something.
I think one thing we haven't really discussed yet, though, which is kind of a big deal, and is the features they've added in 1.8.
Mm.
Oh,
We haven't discussed any of that stuff.
Let's get
There's so
away a little
many.
from the performance.
Yeah, let's
Talk
get
about
away
the
from all
features.
that. Exactly.
Even though it's something we care so much about to have a nicely running Minecraft, let's get to the features.
Yeah. I think I have an idea what feature you may like in the new version.
Oh, slime blocks are amazing!
Yay! I mean, we
Oh,
all like them,
that.
don't we? Last
I
but
mean,
not
we were the ones that came up with them, right?
Yeah.
or added them, more or less.
Yeah, not
especially
came up
Panda.
with it.
You know,
Yeah.
we were not the first to think of that.
There were,
Yeah.
by the way,
By
there
no
were
means.
a lot of people, not just
Yeah.
1 or 2 people. You can mention some in the comments if you want to, but there are more than that, way more.
But the
I think
point is,
everyone had the idea when they first added the slime block.
Yeah.
Oh, can we maybe now push like multiple blocks with pistons now? Because
Well,
the
even
slime
before
block
that,
is
there was a
obviously
mod for
sticky.
buckets
yeah,
where you could use the slime balls to make other blocks sticky.
yeah. The thing
Yeah.
is that I mean, Panda and me and Vubi and Cabo, we thought about the implementation of an actual
I
algorithm,
would say
how to get it.
especially Cabo and Panda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I helped Panda with the first implementation, and we got it together working.
I think
but-
it was most of ZipKrowd were there at one point or another.
At some
We're
point,
helping testing around and
yeah, with the testing and stuff,
brainstorming,
and with the brainstorming
throwing
and
ideas out of
yeah.
how the algorithm could work and what shouldn't work and how it should be.
and how it should affect a game in a way that they would actually implement it, because like right now it doesn't break any piston contraption that was working beforehand, other than one which used slime blocks as a door, but no one was using slime blocks as
I mean,
a door
this-
block.
You
The
couldn't
thing
use
is, in
slime blocks
1.7 there were
1.7.
no slime blocks.
Yeah, so that's true. It wouldn't break any 1.7 piston contraption, so
Yeah.
that's one big thing, and it also isn't too powerful. Like, it is possible to make amazing mega gargantuas with it, but
Not very useful for survival.
and you can do
Oh.
some tricks for it, but it doesn't make all of a sudden everything possible.
It's very limited still.
Hmm.
Like the restrictions you have when building, you have to make sure that you don't go over the 12 block push limit, and you have to make sure that nothing touches other stuff that it's not supposed to touch. Because
Yeah, that's
once a block touches a slime block, there's no letting go. It's gonna stick forever.
Yeah.
So.
yeah. I remember actually
there
there's a
was
way
one
to
thing
with
that
one
a
tick
lot of
pulses you
people-
can actually disassemble them, because with one tick pulses you can make the block right in front of the slime block being set a little bit earlier while the others are still block 36, and then move it. It's possible. Panda made a video about it, but
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I tried redoing it, but I couldn't get the results. No.
yeah, but I know what you
I mean,
mean.
that was one thing that a lot of people disagreed with, that you can't like disassemble the slime structures with pistons after you push them together. But ultimately, we thought that was the most logical approach to have it logically.
Also, there was an issue that if it would be able to break apart and it was not determined anymore, then there were a lot of piston push contraptions where it was pretty much random at which point the structure would break apart. So there was, or let's say that way, it would cause randomness and unpredictability to Minecraft again, which is
Yeah.
what I hate by all means.
Definitely.
Yeah, and so I preferred it that way. Also, like many people say, this makes it hard to build anything, but eventually you just have to come up with solutions. My piston elevator is also pretty seamless and works with the slime blocks. It is possible, and I made it so that it doesn't stick to everything.
Yeah, and you're not like, you don't have to
Yeah.
use slime blocks. Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
in the end, you can still
The
use
old
your old
designs
contraptions.
for everything else still work. Slime blocks is just a new addition. The old stuff still works, and slime blocks give you a few new possibilities.
Yeah, how it should be. Also, was that intended by Mojang to make the slime block instantly destroyed when you hit it? That's something I find really annoying.
yeah,
It's
me
useful
too.
in one way, but it's so annoying when you're building with slime blocks in
If
survival.
you've seen it, Spire and me were streaming yesterday at 2 a.m. It was so funny. If you stack up with slime blocks in survival, they are so awesome for stacking up, because you can just hold your mouse button and you instantly, like with TNT, can go down and break them all in one go.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, and the best thing is, you hit the bottommost slime block, so you will never get fall damage. You like, boing, you bounce up and you fall again onto the tower, boing. This is so amazing. Just saying, it's so, I don't know. I hate that you can instantly break them, because you easily break any slime block contraction by accident, but I think it's a bug, and maybe we'll create a bug post, or if there's one, just link to it in a bug tracker, and you guys can upvote it if you're still watching.
The thing is, it's hard to argue if that really is a bug or just intended behavior.
If you would want to have some delay on those blocks and you need a specific tool to get something like instant mine, what would it be?
Shovel.
I would for shovel, yeah.
Yeah, shovel.
Yeah,
Totally.
because shovel would make the most sense.
But before they do that, they should add a tool for pistons or some other stuff like glowstone or glass.
How about
It's really annoying.
How about just re-adding like it was in a long time? I don't know. Actually, Dinnerbound added it once after my suggestion that in a very early times, I don't know, 2 years ago, when they introduced the efficiency, it would work on every block other than the blocks that were like you couldn't mine the particular block with it. So an efficiency shovel would work on wood, on dirt blocks, and not on stone. But
the way it worked was that everything that you can mine with your hand and get the block out of it, efficiency would also increase the effectiveness.
Yeah. Then they noticed, wait, so an instant a shovel that works that quickly on wood or an instant dirt mine pickaxe is OP. And what did they do? Well, the efficiency effect is just a lot lower on blocks that are not mined faster by the tools. So in other words, the efficiency of a shovel would work on wood, but just a bit. And the main speed increase was with an efficiency shovel on dirt. And that made a lot of sense, and I liked it a lot because it didn't make a shovel completely, an axe completely dispensable, but at the same time you would gain a slight benefit from punching your a wood block with a pickaxe, which had efficiency 5, which made sense in my opinion. And also there was always at least some tool for glass and for pistons and stuff, and that was just any tool with efficiency 5 would get you a slight benefit, and I liked it that way.
Yeah, but still, I think every block should have a tool. I mean, just doesn't make sense that a piston that is made out of cobblestone and iron and redstone, that you can't mine it with a pickaxe, or that you can't mine glowstone or glass with a pickaxe. If you tried it in real life for glass, for instance, if you punch glass with a pickaxe, it will break. Really easily. Yeah. So I think they should just add the tool to every block that you can pretty much get. That would fix a lot of
Maybe
issues.
you should get back to 1.8 at this point. We're getting away from our topic here again. We were talking now about the slime blocks, but we had some other new blocks as well, right? So what are your opinions on those? Those were mostly design blocks.
Not a block, but the armor stand is absolutely incredible, especially for map making and all sorts of weird stuff you can do. For example,
feature?
But to be honest, for survival, I think it's not too useful. I mean, it would be cooler if you could interact with it. Like if you place a hopper underneath it, you can suck up the items, so that you can make like automatic unstackable item sorters with it. That would be cool. I mean, they added the fact that you can use dispensers of them, so why don't make hoppers work?
Yeah, I mean, hoppers could work just like they work on minecarts, right?
It's a little bit different. Annoying in general that many features are only accessible via command block magic. Like if you could just or can you? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but can you rotate the arms and the head position and stuff in survival on a armor stand?
Nope.
You also can't add the arms.
I think.
Imagine if commands.
You could. Yeah. I mean, 1.8 was, in my opinion, mainly a map-making update anyway. If I look at the overall features and everything they added, there's so much you can do now with commands that were not possible in 1.7.
Well, they also added new villager trading, they added new enchanting, some new structure, new guardians, new mobs.
I wouldn't say they added new enchanting. It's more like they changed something that was there already.
The new enchanting sucks, by the way. It's at like 3 levels for an enchantment is too cheap. It is really too cheap. I mean, previously even you would just need some strip mining. You got your level 30 tools constantly repaired. That was okay-ish, but I still didn't like it. I mean, I once made a very detailed suggestion on how I would do the enchantments, and many people agreed with me on it. I don't know if you guys remember and what your opinion about it was, but the current system, using the lapis, well, you can at least trade it by now, but then make the the XP basically completely worthless. I don't like it.
Well,
in a year, Jeb will probably come back to it and change it again, like he did last time.
Yeah. But the fact that they are now using an extra item for enchanting, I like that. For instance, imagine if you would have to pay those 30 levels and still have to use up a little bit of lapis or gold. That would make enchanting a little bit more expensive. You have to gather those resources, and I think it would balance it a little bit more.
Do you guys
What
know
would
what
be
I
nice
once
if-
suggested? Like it was when the level 50 system was in place, the very old system. I had a
Yeah.
suggestion on that
Would-
one.
Wouldn't it be nice if you don't put any lapis into the enchanting table, you don't see which enchantment you're gonna get? Like only if you put in the lapis, you'll see.
Or that you prepay
enchantment.
something to see the enchantment.
Yeah, so you basically use the lapis to see what enchantment you're gonna get.
It's
basically.
different. You don't prepay it. You actually have to buy it. So if you put it in, it rolls the dice again and shows it. As soon as you put it out, it rolls the dice again. So there's a different enchantment going to happen. And if you put it back in, it rolls the dice again. So you will always, only if the lapis is in, see the enchantment, and then also can pay it. But it's not going to be. You don't have to put the lapis in, and then you can.
Well,
you know what I mean.
I think you could abuse this system, because if you have an enchantment that you don't like, you just put the lapis out and put it back in, and then you see what you get.
You would obviously make the enchantment seed would be only used if you have lapis. If you use lapis for the enchanting, and it doesn't change.
That would make sense. Yeah, would
So-
make a lot of sense. Sounds
Yeah.
good. I noticed that Doc is in the channel up there. Wonder what his opinions about 1.8 is. Well, for now we'll stick the podcast to the ZipKrowders.
So we talked about the new mobs. So I guess the latest ones were the Guardians and the Water Temples. Your
Don't
opinions?
forget the
And the
endermites.
endermite, the most important mob
Well,
of all.
that's an older one.
What?
That's an 1.8 mob.
That's 1.8 mob.
1.8 mod?
Yeah, but we had different stages. Endermites are older than Guardians.
Are they?
If you look at the
Yeah.
snapshots.
Yeah.
So the endermites
guess.
is one of these typical examples for unfinished
Trying to
features.
organize
where-
this a bit. Sue me. Chronologically backwards.
Let's talk about the Guardian.
Okay, well, let's
I
start
like
with
the
the Guardians.
They're a very
They-
interesting mob.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They are cool. I don't know. They are causing lag too. I think was it the tracking or something? But something was.
Spawning caused a lot of lag.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we tested it on the test server where we made the Guardian farm, and when we had this thing running, the TPS went down quite a lot. I mean, we only had like how many? 10 TPS or 15 TPS?
Yeah, once again,
Did you try it
something
again in,
where just
in
the-
1.8?
We haven't tried it in 1.8.
Yeah, but
That's
there
what we
was
can do.
something as simple as just spawning these guys, like out the whole server. Du.
Well,
Back on the performance topic.
Yeah.
I guess the
So
the pure point that they have to add more mobs into the world means that they have to execute the spawn algorithm more often.
They
Before
don't.
it was just squids for the water, and now they have a new category of mobs that they have to spawn inside water as well now. It's
Yeah,
not as simple, it's in water, ignore it.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a hostile mob, so I think it's basically the hostile mob algorithm being run twice or something, with not an air block but with a water block as a start or something. In any case, the mob spawn algorithm should at maximum use 1% of your CPU power. Seriously, it is something that is so basic that that has to be efficient. And in the beginning, Notch made it really efficient by first of all just checking the blocks with this non-solid and solid check before doing any precise hitbox calculation checks or whatever, so that it would actually cause a lot less lag by just dismissing most of the possible spots where a mob can be located. Maybe they made it differently with the Guardians, and that's what's causing the map lag, because they're checking the hitbox for each possible location or something. Or has
No,
any of you...
I'm pretty sure they still use the old system. Just that for the hostile mobs, they now don't exclude water blocks.
Well, I don't know if we figure it out, if it's still in there anyways, but we should test it. In anyways, when we were testing our OP Guardian farm, that farm on its own was causing performance hits already, and it was and we narrowed it down to the spawning algorithm itself of the Guardians, not about AI or something. It was the spawning.
Yeah, also in general, they should redo the spawning algorithm for mobs. I mean, it doesn't make sense that if you're down below at bedrock level at Y1, the game tries to spawn mobs at Y equals 250, where they would instantly despawn. That just doesn't make sense. And also the fact that you can spread out players to get a higher mob cap, but if there are two players, like one in a perimeter and another one in the normal nether, all the mobs spawn pretty much in the nether because there are more spawn spaces.
Yeah, it's the big issue is that the mob cap is global and not local, and Bobby made a fix for it once, and it makes so much more sense. And I really hope that they eventually make it into the game. That would make it also so much better for general multiplayer servers, where each of them can have his own base with his own working mob farm, for example, and the other ones wouldn't be influenced. I mean, why does a player living 100 kilometers away from you very heavily influence whether your mob farm or the mobs around you exists or not, or works or not? It
changes your experience a lot.
Yeah, changes your experience by a lot.
The game experience.
Yeah, and also that way it would make it possible to thread the spawning algorithm better. If the mobs are actually independent from each other, then the spawning could also be threaded in a way. Just saying, it would make a lot of sense, and just take a look at how Wooby implemented it at this point, and I think most of you guys will agree with us. I hope so, at least. Yeah, so...
Now that we talked about the Guardians, what do you think that only Elder Guardians drop sponges and they don't respawn? So sponge is pretty much a non-renewable resource.
I mean, now that they made the
okay
chiseled stone brick renewable because you can craft it, they need another block that can be rare. So
I have nothing against the block that is not renewable. What I don't like is that it is not possible to automatically dry out a sponge. Why don't they just make it so that a random update when the sponge has light level 15, so it's directly on the sun in the day, dries it out? Or if you can suck in water with a dispenser, but it has an empty bucket. Why not suck in the water out of a sponge if there is a sponge block in front of the dispenser to make the sponge dry? Something that automates it so that you can have some kind of automatic water removal, like for example a pool you can dry out. Just make it interactive, because that's what makes it fun. If you can make any kind of contraptions with it. Right now you can't make any automated things with sponges that are renewable or reusable, because once it's wet then you have to put it manually into the furnace to dry it out, which is... Yeah.
Has anyone actually found like any interesting uses for sponges besides just clearing water and putting it in the furnace?
I think no one has really tried it out. I haven't seen
spots, really.
Okay, sucks.
Yeah, but it would be possible if you could automate it. Then all of a sudden people would start doing something. But I think most redstoneers were like, "Nah, it's didn't tinker around with it much."
Actually, lost kind of a meaning. I mean, sponge was before a block that was impossible to get in vanilla, as vanilla survival, I should add. So if you used it in some kind of contraptions for maps, you could be sure that it will not get into the player's hands somehow else. Now it's a possibility if you think about. And the behavior changed, of course. Before it was this nice little update sphere or cube around it. And with the new behavior, it's not only updates in a 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 area.
That actually those updates have been removed for years. Since about a year or 1.5 years, sponges don't do anything. They're just a particular block which looks different.
Really?
Yep, they removed it ages ago.
I noticed.
In the classic version, you were true that it was removing water. Then they eventually just removed the water removal feature, but kept in the block updates. But very soon after, at some point where they fixed the very first block transportation with pistons, at that time they also fixed this with the sponges. So it was really more than a year ago when that was fixed, and since then the sponges don't have any special thing.
But we can see at the moment the sponges don't have uses, but that means it's not a bad thing that it's not a renewable resource.
Well, they have uses, of course. I mean, it's still in survival. If you have some sponges, you can dry out things with it quickly, but at the same time then putting the sponges again into the furnace, and then you have so very limited access to them. If it was possible to make some automated system with it, okay, but that way, yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. I would say, yeah. That states it. If they would just add some automatic way, and it may be complicated, like I said, with the dispensers, or easy with just random updates trying it out, then it would all of a sudden, yeah, just as the slime blocks, out of a tiny small addition, enable a lot of new contraptions, ideas, builds, and stuff. Yeah.
This is the perfect time for something else. Villagers. they added new behavior for the farmer villagers that they can plant and harvest crops. And then they suddenly stop working on them.
Yeah. I mean, Chip said he had bigger plans for the villagers, right? All the way in the beginning in 1.8 development. And then he added the farmers, and then he stopped, right? What else could he have done? What would the other villagers do? Could we have a blacksmith that used
That automatically
iron
crafts
to craft stuff?
Maybe randomly do stuff, or
And then supply all the other villagers with weaponry so they can defend themselves.
Oh, that would be nice.
If we had guard villagers instead of the
villagers-
iron golems, which are now useless.
maybe some villagers could
Why
use
are the iron
tools
golems
to
useless?
shear sheep, for example.
Yeah, that would be an option.
Just wondering, why do you think that iron golems are now useless?
Or because they're getting attacked by everything. And then again, I think they took out that creepers attack them, right?
Yeah,
And
that
just
did.
blow them up.
Yeah, but it takes
was-
ages for an Iron Golem to fight
was this-
back. I mean, a zombie hits an Iron Golem like 10 times before the Iron Golem punches back.
Yeah, then he keeps tracking the first zombie or the first enemy that attacks him.
Yeah, that's
And if
one.
he then gets knocked back by another one that,
That's
isn't
one
it-
slight
they aren't
fix
as
or
strong
a
as they-
simple addition they could make to the mob AI that would make it a lot easier. If a mob can't hit his target within a certain amount of time, then it randomly chooses another target or a closer target, because that so often happens that mobs lock each other on the targets and get killed in a stupid way. Because they can't reach the target they are aiming for and another target kills them. That would make a lot of more sense if they, in a brawl of some sense, are able to re-choose the target. But speaking about unfinished features, so you said the villagers are unfinished. What I dislike a little bit about them, on the other hand, it's also maybe something you can take some research into, is that's the way the breeding mechanic works are kinda pretty hidden, so you don't really see how much a villager gets, how many items he has in his inventory, and when he does share the stuff. It's actually fine, but I don't know.
What were the requirements now for the villagers to become willing to breed?
They need to eat, I think 4 bread, or was it 3 bread and 4 carrots? I've written it down somewhere because I've had some tests, but I did it a few weeks ago and I've forgotten the numbers again. I can try to look it up.
Looking for it now, or
let me check. I'll take a look and let you know when I figure it out.
User disconnected from your channel.
In the meantime,
And Cuphamster lost connection.
he actually, yeah. Dang.
Talking about unfinished features, Endermites.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At least they have a nice model.
Why do they exist?
Why do they exist? Yes.
I don't know.
I mean,
Do you
they had,
remember the first update they were added? We made that silly Enderman farm because Endermen tracked them from so far away.
but then they had a use. Now they don't have a use.
Nope.
And they are just so lazy implemented. I mean, it's just a silverfish texture or model in purple.
Purple
Actually, they have
hamburger.
their own model now.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have not the
It's
tail
a little
anymore.
bit different.
They
at
removed
least.
some blocks or some of the model
They
from the silverfish.
deformed purple silverfish.
The
Yeah.
purple hamburger. Looks like a hamburger to me.
Mutated silverfish caused by the near exposure to end portals. So it's usually all they do currently is nerf ender pearls, right?
And not
Right.
Because they annoy us when teleporting, and
Well, they don't even
they're just
annoy
annoyance.
us.
I mean, they
What
don't
else
really
do they
affect you since they only spawn after you teleported, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
You'll be gone, and then they'll be where you just teleported away from, and don't really. I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Does- They don't do anything good. All they do is annoy people when they suddenly have a purple silverfish in front of them because they walked around the path.
Yeah. It's not like it would be a hard to slay mob, it just makes... Yeah. It's just a completely unfinished feature they forgot about.
Yeah, completely uninteresting thing at the moment. Like, it has something, but it's missing, like, something interesting about it. It's just, that little thing that spawns when you teleport. Doesn't really affect you that much.
Maybe it gets some use later on. I mean, we also have bats. Bats are currently don't have any function besides ambience, added to the atmosphere. That is a function, of course. Would be nice if they could do more, but maybe they want to push endermites in that direction too, that they get added in some way sooner or later. That adds to some new designs somewhere.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about rabbits yet.
Oh.
The other new mob. Rabbits. What is the first thing that comes into mind when you hear rabbits?
The rabbits
I don't
which
like
restores 5
Because-
of your hunger chops.
They
Okay,
are way
that's-
too cute.
So they eat
Okay.
3 bread to get willing, 12 carrots and 12 potatoes.
Wasn't that an ore?
Or 12 carrots or 12 potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just interrupted you, but I finally found it. And they're like, here. Okay. And they've got 8 inventory slots, which can have a stack of either, wheats, seeds, bread, potatoes, or carrots. I think that's everything they can pick up. Or did I forget anything? And they can pick up a stack of them. So it's all that stuff like which you can figure out by testing around with them for a lot. And I think it's okay that not every feature is easily visible, so that's fine, but it still seems like a little bit unfinished to me.
Yeah, but
there
the
should
new
be more
breeding
ways for
system is
them to-
better than the old one, I think.
I mean, it's
think
still
they
possible to
should-
make automated breeding farms. Have you seen Tango's Towers, for example? Or Impulse's breeding tower. They are working very decently, so it's fine.
That's
Actually,
still
what
like
do you
some
think
more.
about the nerf? That they don't grow exponentially in numbers anymore. The nerf that they need food for trading.
I'm
think
fine with
it's
it.
okay. Yeah.
It's okay. It was too easy in the before.
It would be nice if there were some more possibilities to get them to be willing to breed.
I
Not
mean,
only
you can
food.
trade with them.
Oh, that's right. You can trade with them.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay then.
It's
I
a little
guess.
bit awkward, but okay.
Well,
They like
Well,
those
yeah,
emeralds.
you need money to
Getting them going.
get.
yeah, they're money horse.
Okay,
We were talking about bunnies.
Bunnies.
rabbit bunnies. So my personal favorite, of course, the killer rabbit, but as you said, cute and give a lot of food.
Yeah,
Do
those
they
two
have
things don't
anything
really
else
mix
going
that
for them?
well, do they?
Is
And
there
again,
anything great we can do with rabbits besides eating them?
They
and
can
looking at
jump.
them?
I mean, the rabbits do isn't
higher.
that great anyway,
oh,
since
right.
you can't
You
stack
need
it.
jump potions.
The jump
Yeah.
potions are cool.
But you can stack the ingredients for the stew like in the old versions where there were no hunger system.
But you
And
can't. But you need
people
a
used
crafting.
mushroom stews.
You need a crafting table to craft them. Then
You need a crafting table?
5
Okay.
ingredients you need.
Ah.
The,
Oh,
Well,
it's
then
not
it
in
sucks.
your.
the thing is, the rabbit jump boost potion isn't that useful? Isn't that useful because we got the jump boost beacons?
Also, the
Well, but
duration
if
is
you
really
are
low.
somewhere where you don't really have a beacon with you or
It,
don't want
it
to
makes
put
a
one
big
down,
difference. That's true.
and just drink a potion.
Mhm.
I think
And-
it's
and
cruel that
early
you
on
have
in
to
the
kill
game. Early on in the game when you can't put beacons everywhere, you can just take a jump boost potion with you
Mhm.
for you to when you're building something. Because jump boost is quite useful when building.
Yeah, for building the jump boost is absolutely awesome. Makes a big
Flying would be
difference.
better, but probably not happening in
Flying
survival.
potion.
Yeah, but before that,
Potion
they
of
should
leaping too.
maybe finally consider adding a little bit more effects to the beacons. For example, saturation. That would, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
one
They
everyone.
need. I was looking at that the other day, like the effects that are still unique to the beacon, and the only one is haste that is unique to the beacon now. All the others you can get through other means, even though resistance you needed not chapel for, but still.
But on the other hand, the effects that are unique to potions. Okay, there's no saturation potion. Well, there is, but you can't get it in survival. It would make it so awesome. I think everyone wants a saturation beacon who has gotten to the point where you can actually get beacons, because that's another completely unbalanced system in the game. The way or the hunger system. Like, I personally think there are little quirks in Minecraft which, well, break the balance of the means of transport. Like, okay, that you can sprint so incredibly quickly over ice with a too high tunnel and drain your hunger bar like crazy. I mean, it's in the game for ages, but seriously, if I were to judge, make decisions about the game, I would probably add fast minecarts finally, so that we got a good and sensible way of fast transport, and remove that you have to bounce your head against the ceiling all the time to get fast. I don't get the point of it. It's completely stupid. I don't like it, and what I was actually going to originally ramble about was the way how quickly you drain your hunger bar. That's one example, but in general, no matter what you do, it's way too quick. If they changed it, for example, that digging would first of all apply damage to your tools according to the time you're digging and not according to the amount of blocks you're digging, and same goes for the hunger damage, that is time based.
Welcome back, Hamster.
Oh my,
hey.
Our TeamSpeak sucks.
Did it fix itself? Hopefully, thanks. It might make a lot more sense. So that way, if you're trying to punch obsidian with your diamond pickaxe, it wears out after the same time, but after a few blocks, which, well, makes sense. But at the same time, if you're doing instant mine with your pickaxe on blocks you can break very quickly, then it's not gone within 3 minutes. And also your hunger bar wouldn't drain that quickly because it's time based. I personally would change it to that, because right now it's way unbalanced how quickly you drain your hunger bar. I mean, you can build easy and good working chicken farms, but still you have to eat like tons of chicken per day.
Or rabbits.
Or rabbits, yeah. But the food system is a good idea. I mean, I like it in general, but the way how certain things just drain your hunger bar like crazy is very unbalanced in my opinion.
So your concern is just the balancing of the hunger, the actual mechanics, not so much.
Yeah, and just said change something to be time-based rather than amount-based. For example, how much damage it's applied to a pickaxe and how much.
I wouldn't change
hunger.
the digging.
You wouldn't?
No, it's been this way all the time, and I don't think they should change it.
Actually, it makes
I don't know, but
more
sprinting,
sense
I
to
think
count
it's
for
fine.
blocks than for the time. Yeah, they're right there. I mean, if I dig 1 kilometer long stripe of dirt, my pickaxe is probably, or my shovel is probably somewhat broken when I finish. I could dig the same little place in my backyard for an hour and nothing would happen.
The thing is, it would just, in that way, efficiency would actually add to the durability of a tool. I just noticed that it would make the efficiency of enchantment a lot more powerful. Yeah, that's another thing. Like some enchantments, they could easily add a lot of cool new enchantments. For example, a reach enchantment where you get an additional meter of block range, of digging range for each level. Like for the basic 5 meter to 6, 7, and 8 meters, depending on reach 1, 2, and 3. I think it would be pretty cool. And
as long as it only stays for blocks.
Yeah,
and not entity hitting reach.
Yeah, a sword with a reach enchantment.
I mean, even a pickaxe with a reach enchantment would then be OP. You would use a pickaxe for fighting, not a sword.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, for only digging the blocks, not for fighting mobs. That would be something pretty cool. Same goes for other enchantments, and there is more balancing that could be done to the enchantments. For example, the armor unbreaking. The way they did it at the moment means that you can't get more than about 40% durability increase, even with unbreaking infinity, basically, or unbreaking 127. If they just, instead of having 100% durability increase for each level, as it is with tools and stuff, just make it 50%. and not the way it is currently added, that in 60% of the cases the unbreaking doesn't have an effect, so that it basically has not much effect at all. That would make a lot of sense too. But it's
I think
things that have been in the game for so long that I completely forget about it. But that doesn't make them less less bugging me.
Yeah, I would also change the durability of armor to be the same across all of the armor parts. I think they're balanced enough for the protections they give you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Comparison to how much they cost to craft. Just so your armor runs, the durability runs out at the same time. Be really nice. I mean, it's better than it used to be before they changed it the first time. Still.
Like the armor, how it worked 3 years ago when
that
was incredibly stupid. Was incredibly stupid.
When it was when
the protection itself would run low when the armor durability would run low. Yeah, that it was bound together. It was just retarded.
But it makes somewhat sense. The durability runs low, the protection.
Yeah, it made sense, and
but it made the armor completely useless.
You had to repair a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
able to
another
repair armor
didn't
that
have
time.
repair.
They didn't have to repair. So basically, your iron armor was good for 3 hits. After 3 hits, the protection of it was already so much lower that you could get a new set.
Yeah.
Well, you would have to balance it, but I like the idea of making the protection durability based.
I don't know. I like it a lot by how it is at the moment.
Well, only if they change the repairing so that we can actually repair our stuff. Even with high enchantments.
Yeah, that's
currently
next
we
thing.
have that
I never understood why
39 level limit.
Why repairing cost levels if there was an enchantment on the stuff.
Magic, man.
It makes sense because that way you can get not get infinite uses out of your tool without having to pay again the enchantments. But they fix it anyways because the new enchantment system makes no enchantment cost 39 levels anymore or no repairing. So in that way, there is this limit is arbitrary.
Did you try that out? Because
I didn't.
Every time you repair now, it increases even if you have your tool renamed. So. I'm not quite sure if at some point you will hit the limit after 40 repairs or so.
Yeah, but
it's like 1 level per repair, right?
Yeah.
At the moment. 1 extra level per repair.
Your repairs are for a lifetime. Which otherwise means that magic is useless and nothing will help us keep our tools forever.
No.
Where's the point?
It's a kind of magic.
And if I look at the clock, we're about 1 hour now talking. What didn't we touch yet? Which features did we talk about now?
Oh, charged creepers.
Right. Pets. More pets.
Finally.
Who's gonna fill his base with more pets?
We can do it with Footer Skulls.
I meant overworld mobs. Like, place scouts outside your base to make clear no mob is allowed in here.
I would like some skeleton skulls to place them around my wasteland, just for atmosphere.
That could look really nice. Throw some bones in there. Make sure they never despawn somehow.
Use item frames.
Yeah.
It could actually look cool.
I think there are a lot more things. Eventually, we could make a part 2 about 1.8 since the feature has a lot of
blocks, banners, the new features with the colored beacons, new variants for what was it? Fences and doors.
I think the next podcast will probably be about if Microsoft will or has bought.
Oh,
yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait for the next few days to
how it all develops.
Be hoax. I remember the last one being YouTube buys Twitch. Didn't really work out that way, so let's see if this will be true.
But there are some reputable sources that apparently.
Yeah, let's not start already. We will wait until there are more points about this, and we will hear more info about this, and then decide whether we're gonna do a podcast about this topic. And let's end the current topic. So thanks for listening to us, and
tell us if you liked it.
Yeah.
If we should continue, something we could talk about. If you have any ideas you want to hear our opinions of, leave comments, message us on social media.
And stay awesome.
Keep away from drugs. Eat your vegetables. Stay in school.
Do your homework.
Yeah, definitely do your homework.
The teacher approves. The teacher approves. So thanks for watching and goodbye.
See ya.
Goodbye.